Hey guys, I'm going to do a quick video on how to install Z1 front upper control arms. My Z is already up in the air since I've been doing lots of suspension work. I'm going to go ahead and assume that you guys can get your car up in the air safely. For this install, it helps to have a very large block of wood or something underneath the front end, underneath the wheels, so that you can get the car underweight while you are torquing down the lock nuts. So I'm going to be using the instructions that came along with the front upper control arms, and this is just to help you guys get an idea of what you're getting into. Step 1, take the wheels off. Carefully spray some penetrating lubricant on all of the bolts. So you got the 4 bracket bolts and the 2 nuts over here. You'll need a 17mm socket, and the most optimal socket is one that's 6-point. This one is, however, 12, but the one I have on here is a 6-point 17mm. I wish I had a shorter one, but I'll have to be using this in an adapter instead. I don't want to strip the nut, so before going any further, put a dab of whiteout on this outer bolt so that you can identify it later, because the bolts are only going in one orientation. Grab a 14 socket and some extensions and go ahead and start taking off the bracket bolts. Okay, so go ahead and take your 17mm for the top bolts and several extensions, and we're going to pop these ones loose. Now that you've removed the bracket, we need to get this bolt out. Okay, now that you got your Z1 arms, you first need to break free these lock nuts, and they're 30mm. Or you can also use an 1.25" open end to break that free, which is what I did. So once you have everything free, bring in the lock nuts towards the center, and then spin the entire assembly until you're pretty much even on both sides. There will be a little bit of difference, but you want them relatively close, and you want them in the orientation that is similar to the stock arm. If you notice, there's an indent on the stock arm right here to clear the bracket when under compression. So have your Z1 logos down on the inside towards the motor, and the Z1 logos up towards the wheel, and go ahead and start adjusting them out to match the stock length if you're not in an alignment shop. When adjusting the length, I threaded the bolt back through, slid that into the other control arm. Let's get that in there. 2 hands. Now you can adjust the overall length to be very close. And then once it's very close, spin the lock nuts back in, just by hand. You don't need to go much tighter than that for now. And there you go, now you have it at length. Now it's on to the install. When reinstalling the arms, you'll notice that one side is slightly narrower than the other. This one is 109.77mm. And if we go to the other side, well, I do this with kind of one hand, it is much closer to 111.96. So what you want to do is flip this over so that the wide end is going on the bracket. So go ahead and mount the control arm back into the bracket. Make sure you remember to use the inner bolt and not the outer bolt. This is the one that we did not mark with whiteout. And then torque it to spec. Okay, so I went ahead and put this in. One of the things I had to do was relax the locking nuts all the way back to the center so that this had some flexibility. So we were bolted up on the main bracket. I had to put the front upper control arm folded all the way to the top of the bracket so that I could squeeze it up top and have enough room up there, and then pull it back down and able to put the bolt into this arm right here. It did take a little bit of witchcraft, and it helped with a jack just to take the weight off of all the suspension components, and eventually it popped in. Then you finger tight everything. I'll put the torque specs in the video in text. And other than that, let's see, torque it all up, get everything adjusted. Once you're ready to take it into alignment, you know, just put a little bit of torque on these guys. The official amount is like 80 foot-pounds of torque. If there's any other questions or whatever, leave them comments in below. Hopefully this helped you guys. Let me know. And if you want me to keep making these videos, just, you know, let me know by hitting like on the video and I'll make more. Alright, see you guys.